Доброго дня всім. Продовжуємо презентації з Канади. Зараз у нас запланована презентація з представником коледжу з Манітоби, Assiniboine College, і пані Енні. Енні, hi, nice to meet you.
Hi there. Are you Olga?
I am Olena, instead
Olena.
of Olga now.
Okay. Yes. So my name is.
Start.
Sure. My name is Anne Bridge, and I am the international advisor at Assiniboine Community College in Brandon, Manitoba.
You can start, and in the end, we have the question answer session.
Okay. Great. Okay. So as I said, my name is Anne Bridge, and I am the international advisor, a student advisor at Assiniboine Community College. Assiniboine Community College is in Manitoba, and you will see this map here shows you where Manitoba is. It's right in the center of Canada. We are a publicly funded post-secondary institution in southern Manitoba. You will see 3 cities where we have classes, where we have programs. Our biggest campus is in a small city called Brandon, Manitoba. But we also have some programs in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and in Dauphin, Manitoba. So you get a sense of the map of Canada here. We are right in the middle. So Toronto is on the east and Vancouver is on the south or on the west, but we are right in the middle. Manitoba is a province that has many Ukrainian people of Ukrainian background. About 1 out of every 7 Manitobans are of Ukrainian background. So that's a little bit more about us. We have 4 campuses where you might have courses. We have 2 campuses in Brandon. One is called Victoria Avenue East Campus. One is called North Hill Campus. We have 1 campus in Dauphin, Parkland Campus, and we have a small campus in Winnipeg. We do have virtual tours. You will see the link at the bottom of your screen. So if you want to see our campuses, you can use that web link and go on a virtual tour. So I'll just briefly show you each campus. This is our North Hill campus, and we call it the Manitoba Institute of Culinary Arts. It's a beautiful historic building. It's so historic that a number of movies have been filmed there. It's formerly a mental health facility, and so it's a very historical area. But this building, we host our culinary arts, our hospitality, and our baking programs. The other building at our North Hill campus is the Len Evans Center for Trades and Technology. And this is where we host all of our trades programs. And it's very close to the Manitoba Institute of Culinary Arts. So students can just easily walk up here for the cafeteria, the library, the computer lab, all the services that they need on that campus. And the other building on this North Hill campus is our greenhouse. This is a newly built sustainable greenhouse for our horticultural production and sustainable food systems programs. Beside the greenhouse, we also have orchards for fruit growing and some plots for growing vegetables. So those 2 programs are very much about growing food, the science and the business of growing plants for food. And therefore we have our greenhouse facility up there. We sometimes call it our main campus. This is at Victoria Avenue East in Brandon. And the types of programs that we would have here would be business programs, office programs, agriculture, environment programs, health, human services, technology, a wide range of programs here. This campus is where we have our gymnasium. We have our largest library, our largest cafeteria, lounges, a learning center. So this is the larger of the two campuses in Brandon. But each campus is only about 3 kilometers from each other. So it is easy to travel to each campus if you need to. In Dauphin, Manitoba, we have a small campus called Parkland Campus. Dauphin, Manitoba is about 2 hours north of Brandon. We offer a number of programs there. In this coming year, we will be offering business administration and a number of office related programs. In 2024, we will offer social service worker and early childhood education at this campus. And then last but not least, the Winnipeg campus. This is a small campus. Because it is in the largest city in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, we do find that these programs become full quite quickly. The two programs that we have for international students at this campus are a comprehensive healthcare aid program, and we also have a baking foundations program in Winnipeg. So a common question that we receive from students is about what is college and how is college different than university? So we have this slide to just talk a little bit about what college is like compared to university. Both types of learning are good types of learning. And because of that, we actually have some relationships where sometimes a student will finish a diploma at our college and then they have credit to continue to the university in our city, or the other way around. Sometimes students come to us after they've gone to university. But here's an explanation about college. College is very much about, we call it hands-on learning. So it's practical learning where you're applying the theory that you've learned to doing something, whatever that is. If it's, network administration technology, you're networking computers and assisting the end users. With automotive technician, you are repairing cars and vehicles, but it's that kind of hands-on learning. It's more structured than many university programs would be. You would attend classes every day. You'd have probably between 4 and 6 hours of class every day, depending on your program. Kind of specific courses, like very focused on a career. There isn't sort of like a major and a minor where you have more choice. It's very focused. The programs are short. They're generally 1 or 2 year programs. And the names of the credentials are certificates and diplomas. So like I say, college and university both have important roles in education. And it just depends on what is going to be good for you. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about college. Okay, so why might you consider attending Assiniboine? Our graduates will tell you the reasons. And here's some information from our grad survey. You'll notice that 9 months after graduation, 92% of graduates have a job, and 4 years after graduation, 95% of graduates have a job. And most of those jobs are in careers related to what they studied at our college. 9 months out, 80% are working in a career related to their study, and 4 years after, 83% are working in a career related to their study. The average annual income about 9 months after graduation is 45,000 Canadian dollars. But then 4 years after graduation, it's already bumped up to $58,000. And the statistic that we feel very happy about is that 93% of our graduates stay in Manitoba, stay here in our province of Manitoba. And I will talk a little bit later about some of the immigration opportunities in the province of Manitoba. So you heard me mention that college is very much about hands-on learning and doing things. Well, because of that, our motto or our slogan is learn by doing. So that is how you learn. You will have some theory and some textbook and some written work, but you will also be very much doing whatever the tasks are, whatever the career is going to need you to do. So you'll see the photographs here. You'll see the culinary student preparing soup, the agriculture students out in the field working with the soil, some healthcare aid students taking care of a patient. That just gives you the kinds of examples of what we mean by learn by doing. And part of what that means is that we give you many connections with potential employers. Many of the programs have a practicum or a co-op where you will do some work. It might be paid, it might be unpaid, depending on the program, where you do some work with an actual employer. Or you might have a career fair, or there might be employers coming to be public speakers at your class. So there's many ways that you might meet some potential employers and learn more about the kinds of jobs that you're going to be doing after graduation. So what can you study at Assiniboine? Remember I said that they are one-year certificates. And by 1 year, it could be as little as 8 months, or it could be up to 13 months. It depends on the program. There are 2-year diplomas, and that means 2 academic years, usually 8 to 10 months each year. And then we also have some 1-year, what we call postgraduate. So these are for people who already have a university degree or a 2-year college diploma. So it's at a postgraduate level, advanced college diploma. And those could be between 8 and 12 months. And we also teach English for academic purposes, so that if your English level is not quite ready for study at our college, that you can study our English for academic purposes first to help you get ready for one of those college programs. So I'm going to show you the programs. First, I'm going to show you the post-secondary, the after high school diplomas and certificates. So agriculture and environment. Brandon, Manitoba, one of our names is the Wheat City, because many jobs and much of the economic activity here around Brandon is related to agriculture. It's estimated that 1 in 3 jobs in Western Canada is related to agriculture. And because of that, our employment rates after graduation from these programs tend to be very high. Lots of job opportunities here. So here's 3 programs in the ag and environment area. We have an agribusiness 2-year diploma. And just like its name sounds, it's a mix of agriculture, the study of agriculture here in the prairies in Western Canada, and business, things like accounting and math and communications and marketing. We have a horticultural production 9-month certificate, and that is in the greenhouse that I showed you earlier. So that is a certificate about sort of the science and technology, the work of growing plants for food, working in a greenhouse kind of setting. And then we also have a land and water management program. Land and water management, it's an environmental program. So it's very much about working with the landowners, whether those are farmers or whether it's a forestry company or a city or a town, working with whoever the landowner is to protect the land and protect the water resources in that part of the world. So very much environmental, ecology, the chemistry and science of protecting the land and the water. That's a 2-year program. We have a number of business programs, business and office, I would call these. So we have business administration, which is a 2-year diploma. This is our biggest program, and we have intakes for this program in January, May, and September each year. And then we have a suite of programs for people who are working in some sort of office setting. We have legal administration for working in a law office, medical administration for being part of a medical practice of some sort, or working in the hospital setting in the office. Office management is more general, but looking at skills that will help you manage other people working in that kind of office. Those are all 2-year diplomas. And then office skills is an 8-month certificate. It's sort of the introduction to those other diplomas, to the 2-year diplomas, to give you good basic skills in working in office. In these programs, you will learn word processing and spreadsheets and database. You'll work a lot with computers, probably 2 or 3 hours of class each day, working on different computer programs for use in an office, plus skills like accounting and math and those kinds of things. Back to business, I should tell you, business administration, the first program. Business administration allows you to specialize in year 2. You can specialize in accounting, in financial services, working in a banking kind of sector, marketing, or human resource management. So it's a 2-year diploma with kind of a common first year, and then in second year, you decide which of those specializations you want. We have a number of food and hospitality programs. You'll see some photographs here on this slide. So we have a culinary arts diploma. It's a 2-year diploma. Basically, it's learning to be a cook and working towards becoming a chef. It's very high level kind of cooking, everything from breakfast through to making soup and stock and sauces as preparation for your restaurant. And then cooking all the meals for your restaurant, all the meat dishes, the seafood, the vegetables, everything that goes on a meal, and also some baking. You will learn how to bake bread and make baked goods for your restaurant, plus beautiful desserts. And you'll see in the little picture on the side, the middle picture, you'll see an example of one of the cakes that a student group has made. Baking Foundations is a shorter program. It's 13 months, but it's very focused on the baking. So the baking students learn everything, all kinds of bread products, pastry, tarts, pies. They also learn how to make preserves like jam and jellies, different kinds of sweet sauces, beautiful cake decorating, and very inventive kind of work. They learn how to make chocolates and other kinds of candies. So that's a 13-month program. Hospitality is a new program for us. It's an 8-month certificate. It's focused on, we call it the front of the house. In other words, the front of the restaurant. Or the front of the hotel where you are serving the customers. So it's aimed at understanding the concepts of fine dining and serving customers, wine, beer, mixing drinks, serving the type of food that our culinary students and our baking students have prepared. Also working sort of in the front area of a hotel and serving customers and checking in guests and those types of skills. These programs are all at our Manitoba Institute of Culinary Arts, which I showed you earlier. It's the beautiful historic building. And you can see a little bit of it in the bottom picture on the side. But we have a beautiful restaurant facility, and we host a number of events throughout the year so that the students have real life practice in a restaurant kind of setting. Plus the culinary students are in the large modern kitchen in the back. We also have a culinary theater that allows students to do like a cooking show. and demonstrations of their skills. And last but not least, in food and hospitality, we have a program that we call food processing. And it's the big picture that you see on this screen. You'll see the food processing students there. This is very much about learning how to cut and process meat. So basically taking meat from its original state and then cutting it into the different kinds of foods that would then be sold in a grocery store. And that would include things like preparing sausages and smoking meat and preparing meat in all different ways. And you'll see here that the students are, they're learning how to cut up chickens, you can see there. We have a strong relationship for this program with a local employer, with 2 local employers. The biggest one is called Maple Leaf Foods. And so these students have a 12-week paid co-op at the end of their studies. And most of the students will be hired by one of those local employers. And they are very large meat preparation, industrial meat kind of processing facilities in town here, and very large employers here in our area. And if the students enjoy the work and if the students do well, they will have a job in one of those employers after graduation quite readily. They need to pass the program and they need to do well, but there's a really strong job market for the food processing program. Okay, some health and human services programs. The large picture here is probably our early childhood education students. You see that they have a number of children that they've been doing something fun with. It's a 2-year program, and it's to train people to work in a professional childcare setting. Comprehensive healthcare aid for international students is a 9-month certificate. So a healthcare aid is somebody who works in a health facility as part of a team, along with nurses and doctors and other healthcare professionals. The healthcare aid is the person who provides sort of the daily Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, Sunday care for the patients, helping them get up in the morning, feeding them, helping them use the toilet, helping them get dressed, working alongside with the nurse and any of the other healthcare professionals to make sure that the patient is comfortable and having a good experience. And then the other health and human program is called social service worker. It's a 2-year diploma, and it is introductory level in working with people in some sort of helping kind of profession, working at the women's shelter or at a child and family services agency, or with government departments that provide services to people in need. And so this is a 2-year program helping you prepare for those kinds of roles. Okay, technology programs. We have a number of programs, technology programs. And I think what you're seeing here, the large picture, I think is probably one of our web and interactive development students. But here's the programs. We have a 1-year civil technician program. Civil technician is a civil technician is a person who would work with, say, the highways department or the sort of municipal engineering kinds of jobs that would be taking place. They would typically get many hours. They would work very hard during our summer and fall and spring months when the weather is better, because they're working on things like highways and buildings and bridges. With skills like drafting and surveying and working with materials and concrete and metals and things like that. Communications engineering technology. This is a 2-year program. This is very much about wireless communication. It's about satellites, cellular, those types of applications where you are designing and troubleshooting with something that that communicates wirelessly. And you'll do a large project at the end of that program where you would develop something something of that nature yourself, often to solve a problem or to help a business do something. I believe the picture at the bottom, that could be something that one of our communications engineering tech students has designed. Network administration technology is a 2-year diploma. It's about working with businesses to provide all of their computer needs. So a business like this college, we have a number of staff who all need their computers, and we need them to be networked together. We have our own network. And so we have graduates of our network admin program working with us, helping the end users and providing all of the kind of computer and software and hardware components that our network needs for us to do our work. So a lot of jobs in schools, school divisions, hospitals, health authorities, and then with businesses that provide those kinds of services to their clients. And then we have 3, we call them the creative programs. We have 3 creative programs: media and communications, digital art and design, and web and interactive development. So these programs are very much about using computer software and other kinds of technologies to create something for your clients, depending on what it is. Media and communications would have a lot of broadcasting in it. So you'd learn a lot about recording video and audio and mixing and editing. You might work for a video production company, or you might work for a radio station or a television station, those kinds of things, video and audio kinds of applications. You'll learn some basics about journalism and reporting along with that. Digital art and design, much more about using computer software and applications for designing something for whoever your client is. And then web and interactive development, very much focused on web-based and interactive kind of applications of the art and the software, using the software. And like I say, I believe that large picture is probably one of our web and interactive students. Okay, some trades programs. So remember I showed you there was our North Hill campus has our trades building. So these are the trades that international students can study at the North Hill campus. We have a 9-month automotive technician program, servicing and repairing vehicles. And then I'll just jump over to the other side. We have a 9-month heavy equipment technician. So that's servicing and repairing large construction and highway and farm type of equipment. And the big picture here, that's an example of the kind of heavy equipment that students would be working on. And you can see that she has a computer. A lot of the components in these equipment, these pieces of equipment, have computer chips in them and are focused with a computer software program. So you'll see she's having to use the computer to service the tractor that she's got there. We have a 9-month construction electrician program. So that's residential and commercial wiring and setting up all of the sort of electrical needs in a building or repairing if there's a problem. A carpentry and woodworking program, so building houses and buildings, as well as doing some, we call it cabinet making, working on furniture or making cabinets. For example, this desk that I have here, probably somebody who did that kind of a program would have built this kind of furniture that I have in my office here. And last but not least, we have a piping trade certificate, which is a, it's plumbing and heating, working with plumbing and heating types of things. And I think that's probably what the bottom student is doing there, the bottom photograph. Okay, so those are the post-secondary programs. And you're welcome to apply to those whether you, even if you have a university degree or a college diploma already. But these programs that I'll talk about briefly, the advanced diplomas, those are for students who have already have an educational credential, a university degree or a 2-year college diploma. And there's similarities with some of those post-secondary programs, but they're at a higher level. They're at an advanced level. So you'll see here we have an agriculture program with a co-op. So that makes it a 12-month advanced diploma, and there's a paid co-op at the end. We have sustainable food systems, which is in the horticultural area, and it's a 9-month advanced diploma with a practicum at the end. Geographic information systems, an 8-month advanced diploma. Geographic information systems, very much probably the middle photograph is a GIS student. Very much about using computer software and other types of equipment to gather information about a property or a piece of land or a part of a city, and to map that and provide data and do reports on that for your customer, to help your customer make decisions about their business with that land. And then related to our business programs, we have advanced diplomas in those 4 areas: accounting, finance, marketing, human resource management. And for 2 of those, we have an option of a 12-month. The accounting and the finance will also have the option of a 12-month advanced diploma. And last but not least, we have a 9-month public safety advanced diploma. Public safety is very much related to policing and the criminal justice system. As I mentioned, we have English for academic purposes. So if your English level is not quite ready for one of those college programs, you could start with our English for academic purposes. It also helps give you a bit of an orientation to the Canadian culture and Canadian workplace expectations. Each English for academic purposes is 14 weeks long. We start students who have an IELTS level of 5.0 or 85 in Duolingo as examples, so that you would need to have that level to start our program. We are going to be offering this online so that students can have more access to this English for academic purposes before coming to Canada. And like I say, if you are studying our English for academic purposes, that will help you be ready for our college programs. And so if you know what college program you want, you could apply for English for academic purposes first and the college program to follow. And you can apply for both of those together on one application form for one application fee. And then we would do the paperwork with you to help guide you through both of those parts of your education, the English part and then the college part. Okay, I'm sure one of your questions is related to finances. Now, tuition varies by the program. For most international students, the cost could be somewhere between $15,000 and $23,000 a year. But I will have another slide later that talks a little bit more about that. The application fee, which is non-refundable, is $200. And that's to cover our costs with doing our work with processing your application. And then the tuition deposit will vary according to program, but for most programs, it's $1,500. And of course, all of this is in Canadian currency, Canadian dollars. And so to see what the costs would be for the program that interests you, you would go to that program's webpage, and then you'll see a number of tabs under the program's name, and you would click on the courses and costs tab. And you'll see here in our example, we have the different tabs that are the color purple, but then we've clicked on the courses and costs tab and it's turned red. So that's where you'll find the costs for any of our programs. We do have some financial awards for students. So the 2 things that we have is we have an International Entrance Award. And so like the word entrance tells you, it's for students beginning a program at Assiniboine. All international students can apply for this award. You must be accepted or conditionally accepted to one of our programs first, and then you apply. The number of awards and the amount of money is going to vary each year, so I can't give you exact numbers. And there will be a deadline for you to apply. It's an online application. It includes a short written submission. So we encourage all students to apply for an entrance award. Not all students who apply will be chosen for one, but we definitely encourage all students to apply for one because that will help with the cost of the studies if you are one of the people who receives one. And then the bursary is for in between year 1 and year 2 of a 2-year program. So only the 2-year program students can apply for an international bursary. And they would apply, there's a deadline in February. So in their first year, there's a deadline in February for them to apply for the bursary. If they receive the bursary, it would help them with their year 2 tuition, with their second year of tuition. And this one is based on financial need. So it's based on seeing that, you know, the $2,000 is going to make a real difference for the students who are selected for the bursary. So we do have some awards for students. But then this was the other financial piece that I wanted to talk about. Our college, along with the rest of Canada, is standing in solidarity with Ukraine and supports the people of Ukraine and other people who have been living in the Ukraine during this time. And Manitoba, as I said, is home to thousands of people who have a Ukrainian background, strong demographic and cultural roots here for Ukraine. So we hope to welcome as many Ukrainians as we can. And because of that, our president has announced that we will offer domestic tuition. And by domestic tuition, we mean the same cost that a Canadian student would pay. So when you look at courses and costs, if you are a Ukrainian national, if you hold a Ukrainian passport, you would use the same costs that Canadian students would use, not the international costs. So the tuition and fees for the Canadian students would tend to be between about $4,000 and $7,500 per year. So you can see that compared to $15,000 to $23,000, that's quite a big difference. It's quite a big savings for Ukrainian students. And this would be during the year we're in now, 2022-23, or this coming academic year, 23-24. You still would need to pay the application fee, you still would need to make a tuition deposit, and you still would need to purchase health insurance because if you're an international student, you need to have health insurance. Another way that we're supporting Ukrainians is with our admission requirements. We are accepting the Duolingo. We don't accept Duolingo for other nationalities, but at this time we're accepting it for Ukrainians as it could facilitate Ukrainians receiving an English test compared to an IELTS or a TOEFL at this time. You'll see here we've written the types of high school equivalents that we would be looking at as part of our admission for our post-secondary programs. Okay, so if you have applied to our college and you start studying at our college, these are the kinds of student supports that you can expect. We have student success advisors who are associated with each of the programs who can provide advice and support to you. I am a regulated international student immigration advisor, and my colleague Paige is also a RISIA. And that means that we have a license and a credential that allows us to answer questions related to study permits and working as a student. We can give you some assistance with getting settled, finding a place to live, understanding about parking, lockers. You will get a free bus pass in the city of Brandon to ride the bus at no cost in the city of Brandon for your transportation. There are accommodations for students who have a disability or some sort of accessibility issue or a health condition that impacts their learning. And also there's academic supports. We have the learning curve with a learning strategist and educational assistants, and a library that can help you with doing your research and your papers, providing a computer center. So a number of different kinds of student supports. Now, about accommodations, the college itself does not have a residence, but there is a university in our city, which is about 3 kilometers away from here, and it has residences. It has a men's residence, a women's residence, and an all-gender residence. It's called Brandon University. And we could link you to them if you wanted to look at their residence. There's also a number of online resources that could assist you with finding a place to live. There's ebrandon.ca. There's Places for Students, which is a housing sort of connection service that connects people who are renting, who want to rent, along with people who own something and want to have a tenant. So we do offer some assistance with finding a place to live for you if you come to our college. Now, this gives you a sense of some of the outside of class activities that students would engage in. We are a smaller institution, and because of that, we have small class sizes. Probably the largest class you would ever be in might be 30, 35, but probably the more common size of a class would be 15 or 20. So you will learn to, you will meet your other students and your instructors. You'll get to know those people very well. The instructors will be on a rather informal kind of basis. You generally will call them by their first name. And it allows you to build a community. Outside of the class, there are other activities, cultural events. There's the Cougars athletics game. You'll see the hockey team on the bottom there. Our Indigenous Affairs department hosts different cultural activities. Assiniboine International hosts activities, Popcorn Fridays, different kinds of sporting events that you might go to together as a team. You'll see there's rooms with pool tables. So different ways that you can meet other students and enjoy the community here. So a little bit about Brandon and Manitoba. Manitoba definitely has 4 seasons, and you'll kind of see some pictures of the seasons. Right now we are in winter. It's definitely, there's no question that we're in winter right now, a lot of snow right now. But that means that there's opportunity for activities like skating and cross-country skiing very close by. We live about 1 hour drive from at least 3 or 4 parks where you can do a lot of outdoor activities. It's the 6th sunniest city in Canada. We have a lot of sun. 2nd largest city in Manitoba, the population is around 50,000. And it has been ranked by a national magazine as one of the top 10 places to live in Canada. I have talked about winter, but we certainly also have summer. You will find the average temperature in summer is probably 25 degrees plus during the day. So you definitely get a sense of both kinds of seasons here, as well as some spring and fall. Now, remember I mentioned that we have some immigration opportunities here in Manitoba. All of the programs, if you graduate from one of our programs, except for the English program, if you graduate from one of our post-secondary or advanced diploma programs, you will be eligible to apply to the Government of Canada for a post-graduation work permit. And the post-graduation work permit allows you to stay in Canada and work after graduation. And that is one of the things that I can advise students about is about their post-graduation work permit eligibility. While you are working in Canada after graduation on a post-graduation work permit, you might consider applying to the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. And this is a province of Manitoba path towards permanent residency. Because Manitoba wants to keep new immigrants and is encouraging immigration to our province. And then Brandon itself also is a city, one of only 11 cities in all of Canada that has what's called a rural and northern immigration pilot. So this is another possible pathway to permanent residence in Canada. If you meet the kind of criteria for the RNIP, then that might help you immigrate to Brandon more quickly. And this is a photograph of Brandon. That's our river there. And the city in the distance. So if you're interested in immigrating to Canada, coming to Brandon, Manitoba would give you a variety of opportunities that you might not have that you would not have in the larger cities here in Canada. So I really encourage you to consider Manitoba and Brandon if you're wanting to make us your home. I mentioned that we have sports teams. We do have athletics teams. So these are teams that play in a league. Our women's hockey team, the ice hockey team, is actually traveling to Boston in the United States very soon because they are defending a championship title that they have won in other years in the past. And you'll see the hockey goalie in the top photograph there. But we have men's and women's volleyball. We have soccer, which you might call football. Many parts of the world call that football. We have futsal, which is basically an indoor type of soccer. And we have the women's hockey. So we welcome international students to try out for a team and be part of a team. Students who want to play on the sports teams must be a full-time student. But if you are chosen to be on one of the teams, the college provides all of the travel and meals, the accommodations, the clothing for the games and the practices, and so that your costs are covered. Your costs of being an athlete are covered. Okay, so I'll just talk a little bit about what your next steps are, and then we'll go for questions. So first thing would be to choose a program. And we've given you the link there, assiniboine.net/open programs. If you have doubts about which program, you can connect with ICEA and they can help guide you along with help from us as needed. Then the second step is to apply. And you'll see assiniboine.net/apply, and ICEA can assist you with that application. We accept applications generally about 1 year in advance, and it's generally first come, first served. So we encourage people to apply as soon as they are sure enough about a choice that they can pay the $200 application fee and they can provide us with a full application, because that gives you the best chance of a seat in our program. Because our programs are small, they have limited number of seats. And so sometimes we start wait lists. And so the students who apply later sometimes are not going to receive a seat in that year because the program has become waitlisted. So we encourage you to apply as soon as you feel sure about your decision. And we can help, along with ICEA, we can help guide you with that. And then if there's a seat and you meet the requirements, you become a student. And we will send you a letter of acceptance that you would use for any study permit document that you need to apply for. And it will give you the conditions of paying a tuition deposit and providing any other kinds of documents that we need. So I want to allow some time for questions. So I'm here for whatever questions people have.
Dear Anne, thank you for very nice and very informative presentation. So now our students will have some information about Assiniboine College and what programs you can offer. We have some minutes for questions, and there are questions in the chat, I see. So the first one is, are there any benefits for Ukrainian students under the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel? You have answered already that question.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you offer domestic tuition for all the duration of the program, right?
Okay, so I'll go back to that slide if I can get up there. Yes. So if a student enters in 2022-23, and we have some programs in May, but then that's the end of 22-23. But then we have September, January, and May 23-24. If the student enters during one of those periods, then the domestic tuition would be for their full program. So if it's a 2-year program, it would be both years of their program. Now that would assume that they don't take a break. Like if they enter the program and they study it in sort of its typical kind of way, they come for first year, they finish first year, then they typically will have a break, and then they come for second year immediately.
Okay, thank you. Another question is the programs like truck driving or maintenance of heavy trucks.
Say that again.
The programs like truck driving and truck maintenance.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you might be saying. At this time, we don't have a truck driving program. We attempted to have one last year, but we did not receive enough applicants for it. So at this time, no. The heavy equipment technician, on this slide, and you know that picture that I showed, the big picture in the middle there, I think some of the studies would apply to repairing and servicing, like we would call them tractor trailers here, or semi-trailers here, large trucks. It's not only about that, because it's also going to be about construction equipment and agricultural equipment. But there would be some skills that would transfer to truck as well.
Okay, thank you. And another question, does the admission consider external independent evaluation, EIT?
Okay. Yes, if a student has an external evaluation of their documents, we are very interested to see those documents. We don't require an external evaluation, but if the student already has an external evaluation, then yes, we would definitely want to see that as part of the application.
Okay, and one more question is about health insurance.
Okay.
You said that the students need to have health insurance.
Right.
But if they have it from province,
right. Okay.
Is it okay with the college?
That's right. And that is the only exception, is if you receive the provincial government, and in Manitoba, we call it Manitoba Health. If you receive the provincial government insurance, which I think many Ukrainians who come here on the CUAET will receive that. If you receive that, then that would, we would opt you out of the basic insurance, and the basic insurance is about $680. So when you see this $1,000 on this slide, if you have the Manitoba Health and you can show us the Manitoba Health in your first month of study, then we would opt you out of that $680. You would not need to pay that. There still would be about $240 for what we call extended insurance, and it's for things that government health insurance does not cover. And our Canadian students also get this and pay for it. And that's things like the dentist, eye care, prescription drugs, physiotherapy. There's some things that the Manitoba Health does not cover, and so we have students receive that. So short answer to your question is yes, we would opt you out for about $680 worth of the insurance cost.
Okay, thank you. Our time ran very quickly, so we should end. And thank you once again to you for a very quality presentation.
Okay, well, I hope to see you someday online or in person, and I hope to see some of your students. And students are very welcome to email international@assiniboine.net.
Of course.
Okay, okay.
Шановні учасники, ми маємо ще деякі запитання, але вже, на жаль, немає часу відповідати, тому всі ці питання зафіксовані, і ми відповімо вам вже в індивідуальному порядку. Звертайтесь, будь ласка, до агенції.